My name's Nicole Scheffler, and I'm excited to be hosting for Anna as she gets some rest since we're at 24 hours. And let's just get right into introducing May Wang. She is amazing. Dr. May Wang is just a very intelligent, amazing woman who's going to be talking to us today about secure IoT. She's currently the co-founder of Zingbox, doing a lot of bleeding edge work in this area. And in addition, she spent several years at Cisco Systems, where she had the highest engineering title possible. So I definitely know of her from her work there, as I also work at Cisco and have heard about her through the engineering circuit there. So now she's in a different position. I'll let her tell a little bit about herself, but you guys are in for a joy of a conversation because IoT is more important than ever with the boom of devices. So over to you, May.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Nicole.
Yes, and I can see you and see your slides beautifully. If you want to go into presentation mode, it will make them a little bigger, or at least slide the slide view over, so we see a little bit more, whatever you prefer.
Okay.
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay,
yes, thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for the great introduction, Nicole, and it's really my great pleasure to present here. Welcome to this session about Internet of Things, which can mean life or death in real world. My name is May Wang from Palo Networks, a public security company based in Silicon Valley. I was co-founder and CTO of Zingbox, which was recently acquired by Palo Networks. Today, I'll talk about the current status of IoT security, the Internet of Things security, top IoT threats, the challenges, and then end with solutions. Our team has spent the past 5 years focusing on how to use machine learning to secure IoT devices in enterprises. We have a team of experts with PhDs from Stanford, Berkeley, and MIT conducted in-depth research on IoT security. We have been monitoring and securing 15 million IoT devices. So in this presentation, I'm going to share the insights we discovered from both our research and real-world deployments. This is a disclaimer from Palo Networks. IoT is a very fast-growing market. Every day, there are increasing amount of IoT devices connected onto enterprise networks. Every single company requires IoT devices to run their business. Whether it is video conferencing equipment or security cameras, network-attached printers, IP phones, IoT represents over 30% of endpoints we're seeing today. We expect that number to continue growing. The number of IoT devices will surpass the number of IT devices in the near future. Also, increasing amount of new devices coming out of manufacturing floor into the market are network-enabled. For example, in healthcare, more than 40% of newly manufactured medical devices are connected to network, doubled from 20% several years ago. The broad usage of IoT devices brings us efficiency. It also represents new cybersecurity risks. IoT security becomes a boardroom discussion now. And securing them is very hard. You can't install endpoints, agents on most of these devices, nor would you want to. You can't easily patch them when new vulnerabilities are discovered. And traditional managed device security controls typically don't work very well. So first, let's take a look at where we are today. We recently released the IoT threat report, leveraging 1.2 million IoT devices we have sampled and analyzed during the past 2 years across industries. I will highlight some insights from this threat report to give you a sense about the current status of IoT security in real world. You're also welcome to download the full report from this website or just Google Palo Networks IoT threat report. We discovered many vulnerabilities among IoT devices. For example, 98% of IoT traffic is not encrypted. 41%. The most common type of attacks in IoT devices is exploits. And 57% of IoT devices carry severe vulnerabilities. For example, in our research lab, We can hack into an infusion pump and randomly change the dosage of medication going directly into a patient's body. That alone means life or death. We found IoT security shares similar characteristics and challenges across industries: manufacturing, education, finance, smart city, smart building, smart transportation, retail, utility, etc. Today, I will just mainly show data from two sectors as examples: general enterprise and healthcare. What kind of IoT devices do we see the most in enterprises? This chart shows the distribution. The top three types are IP phones, printers, and intercom systems. They together account for 71% of all IoT devices. But are these the most vulnerable devices? In this chart, blue bars are the same as in the last slide, showing device distribution. Red bars show security issues caused by different types of devices. While IP phones account for 44% of all enterprise IoT devices, but only 5% of all security issues. On the other hand, cameras are the most vulnerable ones, contributing to 1/3 of security issues, even though they make up only 5% of enterprise IoT devices. That was the case in general enterprise. We see very similar trends in medical devices. Top three types of devices account for 74% of medical IoT devices. There are infusion pumps, imaging systems, and patient monitoring systems. And when it comes to security issues, the most vulnerable medical devices are imaging devices. They make up 16% of all medical devices, but account for about half of security issues. We'll discuss the reasons later. The same 80-20 rule applies here again. The top three categories of most vulnerable medical devices contribute to majority of security issues. The next question is, what kind of attacks we're seeing on these IoT devices? The number one category is exploits, including network scans, IP scans, port scans, and vulnerability scans on networks, attempting to identify flaws in devices and systems to take advantage of. We're also seeing some new trends, for example, crypto mining. In the threat report we released 2 years ago, we saw 0 crypto mining. Now it increases to 5%. We even discovered crypto mining in medical devices. Another trend we're seeing is more additional peer-to-peer lateral movement of these vulnerabilities. This lets hackers minimize connections to the outside world and enables the swarm to operate even without an internet connection. Many security issues are caused by IoT devices' vulnerabilities. Hackers are exploiting these vulnerabilities all the time. Many IoT devices are using default username and passwords. Also, obsoleted software and operating systems without patches. Here's an example. Our data shows that 83% of medical imaging systems currently run on end-of-life operating systems with known vulnerabilities and no security update or patch support. This is a big jump from last year as a result of Windows 7 reached its end of life this past January. We're still seeing Windows XP and even Windows 98 being used in hospitals. Now we know there are so many security issues in the real world. Let's take a look at the challenges. Why it is so hard to protect IoT devices? Is IoT the same as IT? From years of study on IoT devices, we found unique characteristics of IoT compared to IT. We summarized them into 5 L's. Not only are there large quantity of IoT devices, but also large variety. They can be designed for very different functionalities with different hardware, different software, different operating systems, if they do have operating systems at all, different protocols, and different applications. In IT, we have a relatively homogeneous environment. There are a handful of mainstream operating systems that most IT devices use. But in IoT, it is very heterogeneous. Many proprietary systems and protocols. Different IoT devices are deployed in different industries, used in different ways. It is a very fragmented market. It is hard to have a uniform, static, preset rule-based security solution to protect all different devices. Many of IoT devices don't have much capability to protect themselves. Lots of them don't have enough computation power, memory space, nor networking capability. Simpler devices can't have agents downloaded to them, can't do encryption. Even though their self-protection capability reduces, their security risk surface increases, and the stake is higher if compromised because of the ubiquity of IoT devices, and many of them are in critical infrastructure. We change our cell phones and laptops every year or every other year, but IoT devices are often deployed in the field for 10 to 20 years. Long life cycle creates additional security challenges. The role IoT plays is also multidimensional, in addition to being another endpoint on the IT network. An IoT device also carries operation value. Keeping up its normal operation and minimizing downtime are critical requirements. Many IoT devices are also cash cows critical to business. For example, an MRI machine's downtime of 15 minutes will cost a hospital $5,000. Not only there are technical challenges, but there are also organizational challenges. It used to be IT team was in charge of all the connected devices, security. But now lots of these IoT devices are brought in by different teams, whether that is procurement, finance, operation, facility, or even employees themselves. Now, who's in charge of IoT security? Who's responsible for IoT security? So we see in order to protect IoT devices, we need a new process for this IT-OT convergence. There are many myths about IoT security. Here are a couple of examples. When an IoT device is compromised, not only we're concerned about data leakage and data privacy as in IT, but also operation interruptions. Because of often weaker security postures of IoT devices, hackers can leverage these low-hanging fruits as stepping stones to connect to other devices on the network. Another myth is once we have a secure device, then we're doing well for IoT security. But IoT devices and systems are used in a range of heterogeneous environments, which result in different risk profiles. And there are lots of challenges for device vendors to secure these devices, whether they can use the most up-to-date secure protocols, encryption, and they are often short of resources, whether it's time to market and financial constraints, and most importantly, security expertise. And needless to mention, there are many legacy devices out in the field. So even though IoT devices can be built to the strongest security standards at the time of deployment, but at the end of the day, challenges will occur. These could be unforeseen technical challenges, human error, or hackers with ever-evolving attack methods. And these devices are used in different environments, used in different ways, and by different users. So thus, we need to emphasize not only the device security, but when it comes off the manufacturing floor, but also IoT risks and security in real-world deployments. And many organizations have realized the importance of IoT security, but very few knows what to do. From our years of research and real-world deployments, we demonstrated artificial intelligence provides very effective solutions to IoT security issues. Why that's the case? One of the biggest challenges in IoT security is scalability. How do you have one solution to protect billions of different devices? But on the other side, because of these IoT devices, they're generating tons of data that we couldn't have access before, or we couldn't have such real-time access before. So these huge amount of data are actually providing us real-time insights. And in order to scale up the solution, that's exactly what artificial intelligence is good at, to process huge amount of data and to scale up the solution. And another characteristic we mentioned before, that IoT is very heterogeneous. There's so many different devices, and they all have different characteristics. But on the other side, we see lots of patterns for each type of device. Because these IoT devices are relatively simpler devices, and they are purposely built to conduct specific functionalities. For example, an X-ray machine is just supposed to take images, upload images, archive images. So we do see relatively predictable patterns among these devices. For example, an infusion pump would ping its server every 9 minutes. An IP camera would ping its server every 5 minutes. A video conferencing system would ping its server every 10 minutes. And because it's relatively predictable patterns, fixed patterns, it's fairly easy for machine learning to pick up these patterns and learn from these patterns and then scale up to billions of devices. And these are exactly advantages artificial intelligence can bring to us. And every time we talk to a potential customer, the very first challenge they face is visibility. They don't know what devices, how many devices there are in their organization. And a very standard way to do asset management nowadays is once or twice a year, a team of people get onto the floor to manually collect information and make updates on each piece of asset. Obviously, this approach is not scalable and doesn't provide timely updates. What we want to know is at any given time, a comprehensive view of all devices in different groups and different locations within the organization. Especially given the dynamic nature of IoT devices, the old static solution doesn't work anymore. So it's very important for IoT security solution to provide visibility and provide real-time visibility. And that's also, we can leverage machine learning to automatically identify devices on our network. And the second important thing is we can utilize machine learning to automatically build up normal behavior profile and do 24/7 real-time monitoring of these devices' behaviors and characteristics, so that whenever there's any abnormal behaviors happen, we can easily catch them. And the third important point for any IoT security solution is to be able to take actions. If you do see a device got compromised, you should be able to send alert and quarantine this device. So here are 3 key takeaways from this session. First of all, IoT security is relevant to everybody and every organization. It is already here today. It is not something in the future. We already start to see many vulnerabilities of these IoT devices, and we start seeing attacks to these IoT devices on a daily basis. A second takeaway is you do need an integrated solution to leverage your existing network security infrastructure. Based on our customers' data, on average, each one of our customers is having 34 security tools in their enterprise. So nobody wants to manage and deal with another 2. So it's very important to have an integrated solution to provide the whole life cycle security for IoT devices, all the way from visibility to assessment to enforcement. And the third one is artificial intelligence is a very powerful tool, can provide the scalability and ease to use for IoT security, because many users who are using these IoT devices do not have the IT expertise nor security expertise. So make a tool that's very easy to use for whether that's operation team or healthcare physicians and medical staff. It's very important requirement for IoT security solution.
Great. Thanks. We're a little over time, so I just want to see if there's anything else, if you want to say how people can reach out to you, Dr. Mei Wang.
Yeah, this is my contact information, and feel free to email me or look me up in LinkedIn to connect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll have you exit the stage. Let's give her a round of applause. Very great. We have to secure these IoT devices. So very important for companies and for even your personal home to really understand who can get at that. So interesting, cameras most vulnerable. Thank you again for that.